academy's been massive for where I am at the moment. So if I wasn't in the academy, I'd probably be playing rugby league right now. Maybe Joey Kennedy. So his fitness and just the way he just motors on for the whole game and is really strong and powerful and just delivers nearly every game. So just his consistent footy would be amazing to model my game on.
Not a bad role model to have, Josh Kennedy, but Isaac Kennedy, we've seen a few things from him tonight, 7 disposals, and the Harrison medalist from the Division 2 state championships last year. There's his stats from the TAC Cup, the under-18s. And
they're pretty good, aren't they? It's fair to say. That's why he's been rated so highly. And yeah, I mean, 131.9 ranking points as an average throughout the course of the championships last year. Very impressive.
If he can do that in an AFL game, he will win every award there is. Yep. If he can do it game in, game out through a season.
Yeah, he stepped up a few levels from Div 2 in the under-18 championships, but he's certainly shown some very good signs, as is a number of the young guys for the Brisbane Lions as well.
But Tom Rockcliffe is a classic example. The Glenn Lufford champion data always talks about what they do in the juniors. 99% of the time they do in the seniors. If you can find the ball in the juniors, rack up the points, you can find the ball in the seniors.
And what it does prove with the likes of Rockcliffe as well is what you do on the training track doesn't always typify what you do actually on the footy field. Sometimes you just got to play football. He doesn't smash the clock with the 3K time trial or in the gym or anything like that, but he gets the footy and he gives it to his teammates.
Chelsea, you guys off your own bench.
So it's the Lions preparing for this second half with a lead of 21 points over the Swans. Parker goes to Beams for this third quarter. And we're underway. It'll be Martin up against, that's Big Naismith.
Is it?
No, it's Big Naismith's come on, so going to change there as well. And Sydney away with the first possession here with Towers. So Naismith was the sub, so he's come on at half-time. Another one of the big tall fellas as Kieran Jack sends it into the pocket with his left boot. And Merritt wants the boundary line.
Bit of early urgency. Clearly, John Blakey has asked for a bit of run and urgency from the back half. We saw there Reece Shaw coming from defence, getting the ball forward. Question is, how long will it survive and how long does it last in this term?
And they just have to lower the eyes going inside forward 50. We just haven't seen them efficient with their kicks in the forward half. They continually miss targets. Now, there's certainly Franklin and Tippett are missing, but still, there's a number of players up there. You just got to use their assets.
The Lions just wanted to keep it in there. They sort of made something from nothing off the ground from Beams, and then Green just kick it forward. No one to kick to, so Laidler should clear. Almost loses his Dax. Rampy, Smith, so balanced.
Good pressure here, Lions.
Parker.
Really good pressure.
Aisha's got him, got boot to ball. Jack needs help. Gets it from Kennedy. Jack keeps going. Used by Kennedy with the left. He put too much air on it, but he's still going, Jack. Kennedy in support. The premium midfielders. Hanbury. Now this is Brandon Jack. Sydney on the way back. Jack's kick just across the face, is it? Yeah, just to behind. Deserved the goal because it was a great example of just never giving up and running in support.
A-graders came before when it was right under pressure. You had the likes of Kennedy and Reid getting the ball forward.
This is Daniel Rich, and that's going to be tight to the line.
Jack, sorry, not Reid. The midfield, creme de la creme, just rose to the top.
So this is Naismith, Sam Naismith. Just the one game last season. Martin made front position, down looking for Rockcliffe. There'll be a high tackle. He sort of, Parker made sure they got the free kick. Plays on quickly to the fat side looking for Heaney. It holds up. Heaney couldn't quite take the mark. Beams was there, coming through Jack. Redden over the top of him. Wants the free kick for holding the ball, doesn't get it.
Interested in your thoughts on that free kick to Luke Parker. It was almost self-inflicted. The umpire gave the player going for the ball the benefit of the doubt. We'll get a look at it again when we get a chance.
Dane Beams couldn't get his kick away cleanly. Naismith through at throw or holding the ball. Incorrect disposal.
Who? Brisbane? Yeah, Brisbane free kick. Play on.
Redden off a step. Dangerous kick sometimes in that situation, but saw Rockcliffe in some space. And he turns quickly and sees Aish likewise. Some runners coming past now. Short to the wing. Martin wants a runner, misses Buick. Gets on his left, just in time. Kicks it long, going back Green. Shaw in position. Green's going to crumb it. Green will kick his third. And the little man's got 3, and Brisbane get that goal and extend their lead.
He got no chance of getting in the middle, did she?
No, he's too dangerous.
He's got no chance.
The ball comes in long here. He just edges his opponent, Reece Shaw, under the ball. Nice long kick from Buick. One-on-one, top of the goal square, just edges him out. Might have been a hand on the back, the right hand, but he's got away with that one and just slots it through. He knows where to go in the forward half.
And that's an interesting one from Luke Park. He puts his head over the ball, yes, but then tries to force his way out with his head. And it's an issue, I think, that the umpires need to address.
It's a really difficult one, obviously, because Tom Rockcliffe's not expected to get out of the road, and it probably is a ball up is the right decision there. But it's a very difficult situation for the umpires.
Sam Naismith's been subbed into the game, and Benny McGlynn's been subbed out, boys.
Thanks, Ben.
Not like for like.
Not really, no. Naismith coming in at about 205 centimetres.
Ben McGlynn, about 105.
Going out about 172.
Very good player, Ben McGlynn.
177. Here's the lines on the way out. Mays, long ball. Green wants it over the back again. Zorko, 2 of the Mosquito fleet involved here. They're not going to win out.
Good play from the Swans there. Yep. Experienced players linking together.
Shaw gets it from Grundy. Kick just drops a little short. Collision comes. Crummer for Brisbane is Buick. The 1-2 with Merritt, and then out to the lead of Dawson.
They just cannot hold the ball in their forward half. They continually are outnumbered at the fall of the ball. And again, Brisbane rebounded.
Well, big Toby Nankervis. I reckon there was a chance for him just to jump on his shoulders and go pluck. And with a bit more confidence and self-belief, you'd reckon that's exactly what he's going to do. He's got lots of talent. He's got to put it out on display.
Chip kick into the hole. Here's a Crummer and Redden. Kennedy with strength over the ball again. Wants help from Parker. Taken by Aish. Have to get rid of it, and he does just in time. Well, that's a free kick, and that'll go to Rockcliffe, so he gets one back, Jared.
He's going to have a shot from just over 50 metres. He probably might dish it off. Just on his length.
Leicester sort of lurking behind him for the left foot.
Just sniffing around for a cheapie. Clay Beams comes over for a chat as well.
Has he got the leg?
He's going to chip it to the top, maybe.
He's going to have a go. It's going to be left of the post, so it's going to be behind.
He's got the most famous dog in football, his dog Killer. He's got his own web page, gets lots of hits, an Instagram superstar, he tells me.
Oh. Well, that's a poor kick on the way out. Aish is under some pressure, though, from Cunningham. That's Milliken rolling through.
Push in the back, Sydney, laying on top.
And they've won the free kick. Advantage taken. Parker from Kennedy. Here they go.
This next kick's the one. Can they hit the target?
Jack will play on quickly. No, decides not to. Nothing really to kick to. Towers just sort of jogs in front of him.
Well, his problem is the Lions players are running defensively much harder than the Swans players are running into attack.
That's one of the things that really stands out. They're transitioning from offensive mindset to defence really well. I think Justin Leppard should be very impressed with that.
Shorter Heaney. Brisbane, as the boys have mentioned, you can see they've just closed all the spaces down. Not a lot of options for Heaney.
And I'd understand that if the Swans had their best senior team in, that was a mung, but it nearly hit the target. But they've got a dozen blokes in this side, Lynchy, will be battling it out for 6 spots in the first crack.
Yeah.
Parker's won the free kick there.
And you can't just say it's down to Tippett and Franklin not being there. I mean, essentially, the Brisbane Lions haven't got big, powerful forwards there. They've got the younger types, but work rate's the difference.
Richards, bit of air on that kick. Still a chance for Sydney if they can just get clean here with the crumbs. Trying to thread the handball through was Cunningham. Redden, Cunningham again. Burrowing through, Towers.
It is amazing just how the body does adapt, though. They've had one extra game. Swans had an intra-club last week, but they're one game behind the Lions, and it does have a significant impact, I reckon, that first couple of games.
Towers off the line, forced to kick it as quick as he didn't want to.
Push out.
And it'll be a push. And it'll be Big Nankervis to have a shot.
The big fella from Launceston in Tasmania.
Well, he had one chance earlier in the quarter to take a big grab. This time, Big Sauce gave him the cheap shot. In fact, it's Mike Pike.
Mike Pike.
Just a push from Daniel Merritt. And Pike, he's worked on this kicking routine for a long time now and doesn't miss too often.
Kick from about 45. As Alistair said, he doesn't miss too often. That's straight through. And they get the answering goal. The Swans margin back to what it was at three-quarter time, 21 points.
He's, as people have said over the years, he's just one of the great sporting stories for AFL football. Captain and coach of the Canadian All-Australian side, all the Canadian side and State of Origin side, but Premiership player. And I think in the Premiership year he was second in the AFL for contested marks, which is a hell of a tribute to a gifted athlete.
And he's taken a lot of those in the forward 50 as well, which is a great achievement when there was some doubts over whether his longevity in the game, but he's become a very, very important player. And
we do hear that Tippett is looking to play more in the ruck. When he was the number 2 ruckman to Shane Mumford, it was a powerful duo. It was one of the cornerstones of that premiership, and maybe that's what they're looking for again, that for him to go forward as the secondary and Tippett to be the number 1 man.
Free kick coming back to Jack Redden, getting involved in this third term.
Finished the year with an injury.
Yeah, had some injury concerns. But he's a really important player through the midfield.
Over the back, first to it there is Melican, and just paddled it back to Hanbury. They go back closer to goal to Heaney on the left boot. Now Paparone and Robinson. Paparone read it well and controlled it with the one hand.
A couple of years under his belt now, Paparone. That high half forward, great work rate. One of the elite runners, distance runners at the club.
Well, we'll get a look at his kicking. I think it sometimes can let him down a little bit. This is an opportunity to slot one from 55.
Yeah, decent test, I would have thought.
It's going to go to the top of the square.
Well, not many players in the AFL will be able to carry that distance, but off the boot, looked really good.
You're right with the sub, boys. Tom Cutler's about to come on. Brett Stake has been subbed out of the game.
Nice kick, nice release. And Isaac Heaney again in the right spot. Starting to grow with a little bit of confidence the more minutes this game goes.
Goes out wide looking for Pike, who just
did it easy.
Got rid of Clark. Clark was just worried about Pike and didn't even look at the football.
Really strong purchase on the ground. Great upper body strength to get rid of his opponent.
Shaw. Well, the kick's come undone there. Was Hanbury involved, and now Brisbane on the way out. But Jetta is fast closing down on Dawson. And Dawson really realising that went for the boundary and got away with it.
And that's what John Longmire is going to hope that he doesn't have to demand it, but that's the standard for Jetta. If he's going to play in that offensive role, he's going to have to make that one of the hallmarks of his career. Not just speed with the ball, speed dragging players down.
His KPIs are going to be more focused on defensive roles.
Yeah.
You know, the offensive stuff will look after itself once he's getting the tackling and the pressure up.
Smith on the left. Beautiful kick.
Oh, they're out here.
Jack was off the line.
His brother's in space.
Got a pair of Jacks.
Oh, and there's the joker in Merritt pushing it over the line.
Good fist from Daniel Merritt. And we know when you were on the... He probably didn't come into all Australian calculations when you were on the panel, but he was one of the better defensive fullbacks in the competition probably 3 or 4 years ago.
But he was in an era where there were some pretty handy competitors.
That were running with the ball as well.
Probably.
Well, it'll be a free kick against Leuenberger. Now Jetta for 9. Got to come back. It's trying to.
Trying hard.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. It goes through. That's the first super goal of the night. 9-point play to Jetta. And all of a sudden, Sydney get a little bit closer.
Well, it's fair to say Sydney shouldn't be that close. But they've worked their way into the game a bit more in this quarter. And back-to-back goals for the first time tonight. See this ruck contest. Just a free kick against Leuenberger, and here's a very impressive kick from the best part of 60 metres. And good work from Pike on the line to hold Merritt out.
Merritt, yeah.
And
great
just
work.
Great block very legal block to get the ball over the line.
NAB super goal, $500 worth of Sherrins, courtesy of NAB, going to Bridgetown in WA. That was his nominated junior club. Lewis Jenner.
Handy for a junior football club to get those footies just rolling. Just got to make sure.
It's just doubled the numbers attending training in about a month.
And make sure they don't go home with a footy, though.
Get the new Sharon.
So that'll be a free kick for Brisbane to Adcock.
Back 1 metre, Josh.
Margin 13, courtesy there at 9, and it's a close game now. Not a good kick from Adcock. No one there at all for Brisbane. Smith, we don't see that very often. On his own, dropping a mark.
Certainly didn't see it last year when he was selected as an All-Australian.
Advantage to Brisbane. Martin didn't really want the advantage. Green doesn't mind it. Gives it over to his mate and Taylor, and they answer with another goal. The Mosquito fleet involved once again.
Yes, Steph Martin also pretty keen to get involved. He was the one who set it up. Bit of confusion with the umpires. Could almost have called that one back, given that everybody had stopped.
He did well, Steph Martin, in the end, just to have the composure to give it off to Josh Green.
Yeah.
And he set up Louis Taylor extremely well. Hasn't looked like missing a game, Louis Taylor. And as we said, didn't have a pre-season last year going into his first season. Had a full pre-season this year. And looks like he's cruising along very nicely at this stage.
Just the 7 disposals tonight. That's his first goal. Beams and Rockcliffe are 15 for Brisbane. Parker 16 for Sydney, and most of those have been hard fought in this third quarter. Parker's been good. Big jump there from Naismith. He pinched there by Dane Beams.
That's good from Naismith. He's actually trying to get the ball rather than just push the bloke out with his leg.
Standing and waiting was Towers. Got a man going past. Rampy must measure the kick. It's a little bit wide. Got there. And Curvis just on the line. Swans pushing again. Tough kick that. A low percentage ball for Cunningham with Gardner there.
Yeah, it wasn't a good selection. It was a decision error as much as execution. You could argue that it was going to be barely 15 as well, Lynchy.
Yeah, not the right choice in execution. Well down, but he's a big man, Curvis.
Beams playing in front. Dawson done a few good things tonight, Alistair.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to like about young Dawson. You know, spent all his junior years through the midfield, half forward. I think they will see him here to be mainly half forward if he gets an opportunity in the ones this season.
Everybody misjudging that. Aish read it. Leuenberger had Taylor going past. Taylor's going to use McGrath. Green streams forward. Close. Flipped it towards Taylor. Still going. Smith right with him. Gets a coin bounce. Laidler off the outside of the boot. Stays in play. McGrath gets another unkind bounce. That just sort of turned right back into the contest.
Taylor's may have hurt his right shoulder.
So Taylor down in back play. There he is.
He's landed fairly heavy on that right shoulder. And just as here he goes, tackled Laidler.
Goes down there.
Maybe a collarbone.
Yeah, AC joint or collarbone.
Collarbone AC joint, just as he's driven the shoulder into the ribs of Laidler. Hopefully that's okay. Just after I mentioned how well he was going physically.
Well, to be honest, that'd be a good result. AC joint or collarbone compared to
a shoulder.
A propped or dislocated shoulder.
Yeah.
Chance here for Sydney.
Oh, they're out on the far side.
Rampy, Grundy, next in the queue, Towers. Running for him is Jack. Open forward line for the Swans. Towers sees Jack, cuts back on the double play. Now it's still open as he goes long into the pocket. Spearing ball, hoping for Robinson. Couldn't find him. And the boundary throw-in results. Taylor comes to the bench to get that looked at.
What's he saying, Dicko?
Oh, he just looks like it's like a dead arm. He's just shaking it. I mean, his movement's okay. So normally with the AC, you get that little bit of a sprain. So I think structurally it's fine. The physio's just talking to him now at the moment. I'll keep you updated.
Certainly pointed to the AC joint, so I wouldn't be overly concerned, Lions fans.
Kick from Buick, drifts over the line. Sydney descended back in, courtesy of Xavier Richards. They're trying to get a switch happening.
Yeah, they need to get the switch. Josh Green's lurking just between the two players.
And Grundy forced to go to the contest. And again, a few players sort of misjudging it tonight, getting under the ball early in the season. Gardner pulls that kick and did okay to find Rowan Buick.
Buick's been good at coming up for a disposal 15. Dane Beams leads the way for the Lions with 17. Parker, 18.
Again, the contest forms. Over the back of Pike. Dawson beaten to it by Shaw. Around the corner he goes. Ace wanted to play on. Probably not the best option. Close. Just tapped it back cleverly to Ace, who just kept running. Or Zorko to help out. Zorko, the handball in front of McGrath. They're asking a fair bit of this youngster a couple of times up forward. Ball still to be won. Zorko again.
Well, they did pretty well there, the Swans, to close that down because they needed some blokes running hard into defence. Lewis Jetta was one who gave them some support, but finally it was the players running from behind that locked it in there, and there you see Taylor drinking with the arm that was given a bit of a whack, so I think he's happy enough that it's all right.
Great sign.
Justin Clark just reading that best against Nankervis. Sydney got plenty of numbers back, though. It'd be hard to find a target unless they decide to switch.
May have to chip it around, you would have thought.
Fixes everything, Gatorade. They got rehydration and AC joints.
Yeah.
Spoil down the front, coming through close. Right with him, Parker. Pike. Ricochet ball. Josh Green somehow gets it through. Zorko. And off Grundy's double fist for a behind. So again, small forwards of Brisbane being lively inside their forward 50.
All he needs now is the sponge or the magic spray, and the shoulder will be back.
Magic spray.
Absolutely.
Nice knock through from Reg Grundy there. He wasn't overly keen on doing much else with it. Wanted to kill it. And here's an opportunity. Well played. Really well played.
Really smart play from Towers. Back to the Jacks. Brandon to Kieran. Into the middle it goes. Well judged and well marked by Mitchell. Brandon Jack kept going. He just missed the target there, but he's on his left boot. Merritt trying to close him down. Inside he goes to Hanbury. Doesn't like to waste it. Pops up the kick. Just a little too much on it for Robinson. And now Brisbane can tidy up at their end.
It wasn't a great kick, but Robinson was just drifting forward rather than hitting that ball as if it was the last chance he had.
Terrific tackle on the outer side. Jetta getting rid of Zorko. Zorko thought he might have been away there, but Jetta wanted nothing to do with that. Jetta forcing it into the pocket. It should suit the spoil.
Had a good quarter, Jetta. Needed the lift, and he has. Given them some good support in defence and has done some Ks to get forward. They're all looking for the siren right now. Opportunity for the Swans to get themselves within striking distance.
Yeah, if they could get one late, and for all the work they've done, they've only pinched a point on the scoreboard in this quarter.
Just
Still
feel
got 3 minutes.
They've stopped a lot of the run from Brisbane, but still Brisbane, even though Taylor hasn't had a lot of the ball, or Zorko, they still look very zippy with Green as well. Once they do get possession in that forward half, they look dangerous.
Quick hands, Kieran Jack. That's beautiful work to get it to Berg. Up and under from him. Down it comes. Spoil, not really clean. Front and square needed here from the Swans. Kieran Jack goes again. Kick squeezed out. Playing in front, Zorko. Rewarded for that. No one to kick to, though. It's going to come back very quickly here for the Swans. Rampy gives Brisbane an extra second with the drop. And Taylor's back out there, but he couldn't get there in time for Shaw, who plays on quickly. Here's Isaac Heaney. Straightens up. Sends it towards the square. Up they go. Merritt with the fist. Down at ground level. Through the legs it goes. Merritt again, forced to tap it towards the boundary. Now Mitchell will want to keep it in, and Beams will want to get it out, and Beams wins.
I think the thing that I've probably noticed compared to last year as well, we talked about those defensive pressures, running back into the defensive structure. Last year, I think you saw holes with the Brisbane Lions. It looks like they know it's a non-negotiable. They've got to get back and get back hard, and they've been able to stop the run of quality opposition.
But if you're down on contested ball, you've got to make up for it by basically blocking up the holes. The Sydney Swans aren't the contested ball-winning side that some people think they are. They're about mid-range, but what they do well is that they set up for defence from stoppages, and they get the numbers back in the defence, and they're the hardest side to score against, despite the fact that their reputation is the great stoppage, great defence, or great clearance team.
What will Green do? He just fumbled it. He'd spin it before he got it. He was off. Zorko was streaming forward. Close was in it, but Green was far.
But the champion data stats don't lie. I think they're about 8th in those departments.
Leuenberger misses everyone. Mays just tapped it back. Buick, good call from Beams. That's Dane Beams. Now Redden with just a little bit of time. Aish missed it. Rampy didn't.
Looking for an option and got the only one that was around.
Buick trying to cut it off. He'll get a free kick. Minute remaining, third quarter.
Well, Kieran Jack looked up. There was no options forward. Blokes weren't anticipating the turnover. And so he was left to try and manufacture something.
High ball, big jump at the back. Came from McStay. Through Taylor. Canterbury. Taylor got him testing that shoulder out. He's barreled through and he looks okay.
Yeah, that was the fitness test.
Yeah, that was the fitness test.
Some tired players.
Yeah, they're looking for the siren,
Yeah,
aren't they?
absolutely.
Hot night here at Coffs Harbour. Adcock, well worked by Leuenberger to just knock it towards him. Two Sydney players involved. Rampy dropped it, then got it clear. Paparone and Cunningham. Cunningham ran past it. He had superior pace than Paparone. Gardner to help out. Off the left boot. McStay on his left. Can he find a target in green?
Good
Shaw
defense,
right
Shaw.
with him. Rampy takes it over.
Yeah, good closing speed from Reece Shaw. Knew he had to push over.
All reports is he's had a massive pre-season, dropped a couple of kilos.
It's been a huge turnaround in his career.
Yep, he's done a great
once he's
job
made
there.
the move to Sydney.
Canterbury off the right. Standing in the way was Gardner. He stood his ground. Palming off Mitchell. Bird beaten by the siren. Good competitive quarter, just the 1 point difference. Brisbane still holding sway on the scoreboard. 58 playing 38. So, as we mentioned, most of the players looking for the siren here on a warm Saturday night at Coffs Harbour. NAB Challenge from Northern New South Wales. Tomorrow, the NAB Challenge heads to Morwell for the game between... Friday night football in Coffs Harbour. Beautiful night, as we've mentioned a couple of times. Full moon, sensational surface. Certainly the Brisbane Lions are enjoying being in Northern New South Wales. They've been in front for most of the night, and now they lead by 20 points at three-quarter time. Josh Green, 3 goals. McStay got a couple early. All singles, including one super goal for Lewis Cheddar for the Swans. And the midfielders for both teams getting plenty of the ball. Probably a little bit deeper in the midfield for the Brisbane Lions. But let's get to the coach for the night for the Swans. Ben's with John Blakey.
Thanks, Matty. John, that was obviously very different to the first half. What were the key areas you addressed?
Yeah, look, I thought we got opened up a little bit there. It turned out that they were dragging us right up the ground, and then on the turnover, they'd run us really hard back. So we need to just tighten up that area and make sure we don't get opened up.
Intensity of the ball was much better also.
Yeah, the intensity of the ball was okay, but there's just too many skill errors, too many mistakes, and we only had 6 tackles for the quarter, so it's an area we've got to get better at.
Does it live up to the hype being the head man?
I don't know about that. We'll see after the final siren goes.
Hello, Johnny. Thanks, mate.
Thanks to Johnny Blakey. We saw those stats come up. Not a lot in the stats, gentlemen, and John mentioned the fact that Brisbane are getting back better. They're positioning and running hard defensively better.
Yeah, they're outworking the Swans at this stage, and the gap has closed on a number of the key indicators, but still you think there is too big a gap.
I think also just the setup in their forward lines. Right now, we know Brisbane haven't got Jonathan Brown or a marquee forward, but they've got more of their regular forwards who know what to do with the ball than the Swans, who are really experimenting at the present time, and it's an experiment that's really not working. Most of their midfielders are the ones kicking the goals.
And the reality is, for the past couple of years, the key targets in the forward half has been at ground level, and that's the small, speedy guys.
So it is the NAB Challenge, and there's no 4 points on offer, but Sydney have 20 points to make up in this final quarter. We've had a couple of close games already this season in the NAB Challenge, so maybe we've got another one here if they can recreate that intensity.
I think there's a bit in it for the Lions, though, Lynchy. Beating the Sydney Swans in a market where they've just jumped off the boil a little bit. They're starting to build. This is, you know, important for momentum.
Well, we talk about having good summers, and I think every club seems to have a good summer, but they had an outstanding October. They traded extremely well, drafted well late, and they've set themselves up after coming off a year or two with a lot of injuries, pretty much fully fit, going into a block of games at the start of the year that they feel they can win, and they've certainly set themselves through this pre-season to be cherry ripe for round 1.
Handley's the only really negative so far, isn't he?
Yeah, he's obviously a big negative. They bring in plenty of pluses in the midfield, and I think they're all looking at this round 1 clash at the Gabba against the Collingwood Footy Club. Dane Beams and Swanee up against the Pies.
Nice shepherd by Clay Beams just to release Mays there. It was just smart footy. Now they get it to Zorko, and Martin provides an option for him.
Josh Green's been dropped off the ball. I think Rampy might have just dropped the shoulder into him.
A bit of a chat to the umpire saying, where's my free kick? Not the ideal situation to kick it to Lewis Taylor in a one-on-one, and McStay just paddles it over the line so they can reset.
There's Josh Green still saying, what about a free kick? I might have said you're kidding there too, but no, he's had a good game again, Josh Green, after a very impressive season.
Martin and Naismith do battle. Taken by Rich. Slicing handball to Leicester. Paparone. Gardner just went without it. Now,
still numbers.
I missed Paparone there. Well, they're lucky to get away with that, Bruce, because they were very untidy. It was half a free kick to Paparone.
Let's have a look at what happened here. Is there a bit of a push? Bit of a neck grab. Fair enough, umpire. On the money.
Yeah, it took him around the jaw. Crummer needed here. Leicester. Back he goes. And Brisbane push it forward. And a good sport from Milliken. Ball goes out. Let's go down to Ben Dixon. If you just joined us, Mitch Robinson was off in the first quarter. He's talking to Ben.
Thanks, Matty. Firstly, off the cork, how serious?
Yeah, no, just a bit early on. In one of the contests, it's got a pretty heavy knock in the quad, so tried to have a run around, but got another one from Laidler, and I thought it was, it's only NAB Cuffs, I might as well come off and get a young bloke a run.
Tell us about the transition to Brisbane, Justin Lepridge, young team. How's it influenced you?
Yeah, it's really good. I feel pretty old coming up here, 25-year-old, so, a bit of a dinosaur around the club, but, they're a great young group, and, it's probably the hardest team I've seen train so far in the pre-season, and, we haven't missed a beat, and the boys are going well tonight. The skills look pretty good, and, it's wet conditions, but, they're holding up well.
Looked like you controlled the ball a bit more. I heard Leper at half-time, pretty complimentary of the way of that, but there's a big focus coming in. Yeah, we got the cobwebs out last week against St Kilda, it was a scrappy game and stuff, so the boys have done really well tonight, off the half-back, moving it forward, and, the big forwards are giving us contests, and the young boys are on the ground level kicking goals, so it's got another one. Well on you, Mitch. All right, thanks, boys. Thanks, Heath.
And Marco Paparone has kicked that set shot for goal. It's a little bit of Justin Lepridge in Mitch Robinson. No wonder he likes playing underneath it.
There's a few.
That was his first goal assist. He was commentating while the goal went through.
There's a high contact on Paparone, and we saw having a set shot from just outside 50. He didn't quite make the journey, but just flushed that one from about 48 metres. So good for his confidence. But again, work rate, and conversely, just a couple of tackling errors from the Sydney Swans. But back to Mitch Robinson, I think he'll be a fantastic asset. Just part of that rotation through half forward. He can play as that leading forward as well. And obviously when they're undermanned, they will need him at times.
There he is with Brent Staker also, who'd been subbed out. So Brisbane get the first goal of the final quarter, courtesy of Paparone, who 7 goals in his 18 games last year. But now Sydney win the clearance from the centre. Cunningham, out comes Merritt with a big double fist and gets about 35-40 metres. That's a spoil for you.
That's a classic Daniel Merritt spoil.
And Rich, clever kick, wants the boundary. So that's just intelligent football from 2 players there. They take it all the way past the midfield to a boundary throw-in and don't give Sydney a look.
Looks very comfortable back down there, the big fella. He's had a couple of stints up forward. I think kicked 8 goals against GWS there a couple of years back. So had a few good days out in the forward half, but certainly much more comfortable at fullback.
Ball to be won here.
What did you prefer, Lynch? You spent 10 years at either end?
I would actually rather play at fullback.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why. You slept better playing at full forward the day before a game, no doubt. Especially when you're playing fullback for Fitzroy. There was a few sleepless nights.
Right.
Big plugger getting hold of you, or Jason Dunstall. But no, I enjoyed playing fullback.
Chance here for Brisbane again. Looking a bit dangerous. Rich to Redden. And he just dropped it. And he might be pinned here. Yep. Just dropped it. So good pressure from Kieran Jack. Margin at 26.
Yeah, the big switch is on. Now, this is where Brisbane have been able to get on the outside and stop this switch.
Cunningham will want to take on Martin here, but he just let it go past him. Look at the athletic ability of Martin.
Well, that's exactly what we've been talking about all day. The ruckman has chased, I think it was Cunningham over there, put pressure on, turn the ball over. Great work rate from the big man.
Athletic big men can really transform your team. and there's been few as athletic as Steph Martin. He's had 2 really great patches of play in his career. One with Melbourne, about a 12-game burst at a similar level. They went in, pushed him forward, and it fell apart. Doesn't look like the Lions are going to make that mistake. They know what he is, and he is delivering. And
physically, he's got himself in great nick. He's the strongest at the club now, which is saying something. There's a couple of big boys around, but he's in ripping nick. He's a very big athlete.
You still have the record for the bench, do you, mate?
I reckon that went a few years ago. They're getting bigger and stronger every year. No, I'm well down.
Taylor
Good
did
hands.
well,
Great
clever
hands.
play. Adcock opened things up here. McGrath, Adcock kept going, thinks about 9 points, but decides at 6. He's inside 50. He's let the team down with a very poor kick, the former skipper, and he knows it, but it was a good passage of play.
Really smart hands inside from a couple of the players to set up the longest shot at goal. And it's all about recovery, it seems, for the Swans at the moment.
So the first 15 minutes of this final quarter, just normal time. No time on, then the last 5 with time on. So that's making Sydney's task a little bit tougher, given it's a shorter quarter. Hanbury did well to get it out. Going backwards here, Sydney, but a bit of pressure for Smith.
Good gang tackling. No, look at that. They're just at him all the time. And it's dragged those skill errors that John Blakey talked about from the opening minute.
And Brisbane hold it inside their forward 50, courtesy of that pressure and gang tackling. And a chance here for Leuenberger to find someone. Quickly to Rockcliffe. And that's exactly the result. Zorko, I should say. The magician gets the goal, but set up by the pressure, and a lovely knock from Leuenberger, and Zorko gets one.
Yeah, great to see Matty Leuenberger involved there. Dane Zorko involved in that passage of play on a couple of occasions over probably the last 45 seconds. But have a look at Tap. It was a non-contest in the ruck. Leuenberger went it alone, which makes it pretty easy, but he still has to hit the target. Just palms it straight down to Zorko in half a step. Has a great sense of where the goal is. And Zorko, like Tom Rockcliffe, elevated off the rookie list. And
unbelievable get, wasn't it?
Made a massive fist of a career where he had the opportunity to be collected by the Gold Coast Suns. They on-traded him.
60 games, 60 goals for the magician. And an important part of the midfield now, and he's having a good night. And Brisbane have got a bit of a run on here.
Mind you, I don't think the Gold Coast Suns are that short of talent.
No,
but still, okay.
But still, Zorko
never do with enough.
A very good player.
Well, I think Brisbane have proven that you can never have enough. They've got about 15.
Yep.
So the boundary thrown again, Naismith and Leuenberger. Naismith made good position. Mitchell. Ace trying to rake it in and did well. Just to get it on the boot quickly and get it forward and get some more territory for the Lions.
James Aish up to 20 possessions, and I have no doubt he's going to be a big talking point over the next 6 months, whether he's going to stay at the Lions and sign on for a 3rd year and beyond, or return home to Adelaide.
Well, Adelaide, according to all reports, have got a big checkbook that they want to put a name on. They had a good crack at Jeremy Cameron, we believe.
Yep.
And they have already publicly stated, I think, that they're pretty interested in this kid. Why wouldn't they be?
Former neighbour of Mark Rasciuto.
Sydney free kick from the ruck.
I reckon that's a fair reason to be in contact a fair bit, just to see how he's going.
But he'd look around and he'd say, geez, this is a pretty exciting group here I'm a part of.
Well, that's the thing. I think Justin Lepich, he's put in a good team together. Yeah. And as we said, they needed some experience. They needed some depth through the midfield. They've got that. And now if it can get through the next 12, 24 months to allow the key positions to mature, I think you've got some good potential there.
Good lead up from Dawson. Takes it well.
Daniel Rich was another one in a similar situation who was expected to be lured back to the WA, and yet he's found a pretty happy home at the Lions.
Taylor's kick across the front. Mays over the top of Hiscox. Hiscox will want the line, he finds it. But Brisbane doing all the attacking at the moment. They're up by 32, and they look like kicking the goals rather than Sydney.
Well, they had some really big wins because it was Leuenberger as well dragged back. Tom Rockcliffe, there was a number of clubs into Tom Rockcliffe and whether he was tempted to go down. I think that a massive turning point when those players put pen to paper, it encouraged a lot of the youngest guys to stay on as well.
Josh Green off the ground. Now it's touched. It's a behind. He worried Shaw out of it, so Green was looking for his fourth, not to be.
Hasn't had a great run with the umpires in the last couple of minutes, Josh Green.
So on the way out, this is Robinson. And steps nicely to get around Paparone and goes into the middle, but did everything right and then kicked it straight to Sam Mays, who didn't take the footy. So a chance here for Sydney. Heaney, Hiscox, Rockcliffe to pinch it back for the Lions and launch it long. Close up. No one over the back for Brisbane.
Forward pressure coming at 1,000 miles an hour, fell onto his back.
Yep.
He'll learn from that because he had him pinged. He could have just tempered that assault a little bit and he gets a free kick.
And they'll talk to...
Oh
no, that's a massive turnover. They'll talk to him about the technique of not getting in the back, but the effort is still there.
Yep.
And again, that's typical of Sydney Swans tonight. Just dropping concentration, turnover, and now Louis Taylor's got a pretty easy set shot from 40 metres out.
So the Mozzies, Green 3, Zorko 1, Taylor lining up for his second. So it'll be 6 for the Mozzies.
And you can imagine during the season, Beams is going to go forward, Christensen's going to go forward as well.
Taylor for his second. Needs it to come back a bit. It doesn't. It's just a behind, so just the one for him. Remains that, but Brisbane continue to do the attacking and Sydney continue to turn it over on the way out. And they've done it again here. Leicester. That's a very dangerous kick. Talk about a turnover. No one to kick to here for Jack, though. Now streaming forward is Hiscox. We know he can run. Merritt reads it. Going to have to get it off the bounce. Hiscox pats it down. Right. Well, it certainly looked like it. Leicester.
Or it's slam dunk.
Trying to clean up his own error, and that's another turnover. It's some tired legs at the moment. This time Clay Beams kicks it straight back to Robinson. Daniel Robinson. Up from the rookie list, yet to play a senior game. Chance for a goal here. There's the turnover in the box there from Beams, and Robinson's kick is off to the right, just to behind, so both teams missing shots they should have kicked. 8 minutes remaining in this game.
Every player in the forward half of the Sydney Swans.
Well, that is a shank.
It's not a good kick on the way out.
If you're going to kick the ball out from full back, you've got to do better than that. Even if it is practice match, that's what you're there to do, practice.
Buick.
Oh, it's a fracas.
All the way back against Lewis Taylor.
What is amazing, Lynchy, is where the northern coast of New South Wales, this is an unbelievably good facility for AFL footy.
Yep.
It's absolutely A grade in every area. Clearly there's no grandstands on the other side, but it is fantastic.
It's an incredible surface, and the AFL have invested into infrastructure right through the developing states of New South Wales, and even just outside of Brisbane, Burpengary, where the Saints played the Lions last week. An amazing facility just to help grow AFL football.
Here's Kennedy with the set shot after Jack won the free kick. Well, that's not good from Josh Kennedy. In fact, that hasn't scored. Again, a tired leg. And with 7 minutes remaining, I get the feeling, Jared, Sydney just want to pack up and go.
Yeah, I think that might have been the feeling going into the half-time break as well. But they know what it's all about. They've set a standard, and they're just easing into it clearly. Lots of players are getting their first exposure. Senior players going through the motions, and they'll be expected to ramp it up about 200% in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, a long way to go. Naismith, we're looking down in front for Jack. Now it's called a throw, so the free kick back to Zorko. Buick called to move it on. He does so. Out comes McStay. Probably should have got there in the end. Chance for Rampy to send it back the other way via Kennedy. Inside 50, no one there for Sydney, and Merritt, an easy mark for him.
He's loving this reintroduction to full back, because half the time he's been by himself.
Yeah.
Just kick the ball straight to him. Just to rack up a bit of ball and a bit of confidence as well.
Clark, that's how you drill a pass. Don't give it in the air, just keep it low to Zorko. Merritt again.
Well, Naismith's getting a nice work over. Leuenberg Leuenberg comes off, and Stefan Martin goes on, takes him for another kilometre run.
Pretty untidy footy there from Brisbane. Buick caught on his right boot. Don't see that a lot. Redden comes at it. Kennedy there.
Well, that's hurt.
He looks a potential player, though, Naismith. He's a great athlete. There he is on the bottom of the screen, number 35.
And Rampy just got crushed by Jack Redden. See, Redden comes in, knee right into the ribs.
You're not going to enjoy that.
Not at all.
Umpire's giving the players plenty of time to get it out, and it finally does come out. Kennedy loses a leg. Not literally, of course.
Could have been a trip. Point was well made, I think. I think we did lose that leg. That was Heaney getting a bit of attention.
Well, I think if he just wrapped to get out of the newspapers and onto the track.
That's the thing, judged by his performances now. He's at the Sydney Swans in an official capacity, out of the academy system.
Again, plenty of time for the players to get it out, and they're pretty tired, and they're just almost waiting for someone to take it, holding the ball against Hanbury. Brisbane ball.
They've done this very well. Just gone back, sort of almost the U-shaped setup, back to the loose player like Merritt, and then just come out the other side. Held up on this occasion.
Redden in the middle.
Got the one up the middle, and that's the dangerous one. It did work it well.
So now Redden has a couple of options. He's off his line. He probably didn't want to get called just yet. And he finds Martin. Brisbane working the clock down as well. Let it every change.
And where they've tried to do this in the past, they haven't had the skill execution to actually do it. When you use the ball short laterally, if you butcher the ball, you're going to be in all sorts of strife. They've certainly, in the latter part of last year and tonight, they've hit their targets.
Pike down in front. Parker did get boot to ball. Redden spirals it forward. Grundy over the top. Ball spills towards Laidler going back. He switches. Dangerous kick. Green sweating on Cunningham here. And there's Green over the top of him. Oh, it's another one they've given up here, Sydney. Brisbane queuing up to have a shot. Comes from Zorko for his second of the quarter.
Oh, nearly. He sniffed another one. Little Dane Zorko.
Yeah. Close was coming in, and just over 3 minutes remaining.
It's 21 for Zorko. 1 goal, 1.
What's the upper limits for the Brisbane Lions? Lynchy, can they get 10 wins? Can they go into double figures this year?
I think that's what they'd be aiming for. The 10, 11, 12 wins. I think 8th spot, 9th spot, just in, just out is their very best. And if they're a bit lucky with injuries, they'll get up there. But it's probably been able to maintain that all year. Probably will keep them out of the 8. But I think there's plenty of encouraging signs. And this rebuild is more about years 2 and 3.
Yeah. It was 7 last year, so if they build to 10, then you can work on 12 and 13, which gets you into the finals. You've got to get there in progression.
And we know it's such a bottleneck around the 8, and it's such a tight competition these days. And if the Lions can knock over a couple of those top-ranked teams, which I feel they will at different times, they must win the games that they should win against the bottom team.
Such an important player for them this year, Grundy, the Sydney Swans. They need him to keep it together. He's worked really hard, I believe, over the summer. Father Time's starting to catch up, so he's gone harder and worked harder. There's no reason why there's not another solid season in him.
Martin, clever knock down to Buick. He's had a good game, Buick. Leuenberger just put it down in front of Green. No one in front of him. He's going to have to do something special from outside 50 for 9 points. He needs a very kind bounce. He needs the kindest bounce you'll ever see, and he doesn't get it.
So where do you see, conversely, the Sydney Swans this year? They still very much in that elite bracket, that top 4 bracket?
I think they are, but they've come off a bit.
Yep.
Because, and you can't lose Melcheski. O'Keefe was a starting player last year, didn't get a Guernsey last year, we know that.
Yep.
But they have got some players coming through that need to make the leap to cover what they've lost. Goods is another year older. I don't think that's a big issue. I think Goods is just one of those freak players. They need Tom Mitchell to be pushing up to win the best and fairest. They need Zach Jones to push in. He's not playing today. And they need improvement from 2 or 3 of those guys that have had their 50 and 60 games experience now to, I guess, maintain the drive, because the opposition have got better.
Yep.
Hawthorn have got better. They've picked up 2 serious players, John O'Rourke and Chip Frawley.
And one of those players you speak about, we spoke about pre-game, might be a Sam Reid to actually really cement a spot in the team, maybe at centre half back.
Yep. Just desperate for one more here, Brisbane. They're peppering the goal. Plenty of players around it. Laidler to try and clear. And again, Sydney's disposal on the way out has been deplorable at times.
Because if Reid goes to centre back, then that takes the pressure off Richards and Grundy.
Yeah, he's the key in many ways as the floater. But as what happened today, you get 2 or 3 injuries in the forward half. He's going to be the pin in the forward half. So he is genuinely that swing man.
Cutler decides to have a shot at goal. Or again, we've seen this 3 or 4 times in Brisbane. They elect to have a shot and they hit to the top of the square. Ace trying to make something from nothing. Wasn't to be.
I think another issue for them is Tippett. I think if Tippett can go to All-Australian level, and he's got that in him, as the ruck forward, and Pike is the secondary ruck forward, it can have a huge impact on what happens around.
I think you come up against the Brisbane Lions, you know, if someone's having a shot from 50 metres, watch the pulled short one at 15 metres out top of the goal square.
4 or 5 times tonight.
Absolutely doing it.
2 kicks.
And giving no indication. They look as though they're going to tee up a 55-metre bomb, but it's been pulled.
Green got it away quickly. Rockcliffe, he might get it back. He might get a second chance, Tommy Rockcliffe. It'd be fitting if the captain kicked the final goal, but it's only a behind. But they've continued their work rate right through the entire 4 quarters, Brisbane. That's the difference between the 2 sides. That's why they're 36 points up.
Josh Green's missed out again.
He hasn't had a good night with sirens and umpires or whatever, but he's had a good night on the scoreboard. He's kicked 3 goals. And Brisbane have been pretty convincing winners over the Sydney Swans tonight.
They certainly have, and I can see Ben Dixon. He's just charging towards young Green. I think that he's got him in his sights. Maybe not, but he's got that strut going.
He certainly has. And look, obviously, very different preparations for both teams. We know the Sydney Swans went deep into September, the grand final day. They're a month behind, effectively, of where the Brisbane Lions are, and very different challenges going into the season. Very measured in the way they've gone about it, the Sydney Swans, and they're absolutely having a red-hot go to be up by round 1, the Brisbane Lions.
25 scoring shots to 11, 10 goals 15 to 1-4-6.
That says a lot. Very similar scoreline to last week. Only won by 3 points against the Saints, but dominated the scoring shots.
Well, it's no surprise that we look at the disposal list, and right towards the end, Tom Rockcliffe ends up on top, as he does most games that he plays. 25 disposals for the new captain, 10 marks, 3 behinds. He probably won't be too happy about that, but here he is with Ben.
Thanks, Matty. Tom, that's nice for the young guys. A couple of wins just to build you, obviously, to round 1.
Yeah, it was. Sydney, obviously, their first hit out. So, as I said before the bounce, if we cracked in and got contested footy right early, we'd be on top. And we did that in the first quarter and then faded away a little bit. But to have 25 scoring shots to 11, it's a credit to the group and how hard we've worked.
And last week you said you moved too quick with the ball, but tonight very composed, obviously very dewy, but you were pretty composed in terms of your support around the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we improved out of sight. Trying conditions tonight was real wet, so boys did really well to shift the footy, kick mark a fair bit, and as the game wore on, I thought we got on top really well.
Still trying to find that big guy out forward now that Big JB's not there anymore, but to get Staker through, he only played half a game, but the ruck combination's starting to work as well.
Yeah, I think giving them a bit of a different look at times, Steph Martin and Matty Leuenberger down there, but also kids like Michael Close and Stake's obviously an older fella, but Dan McStar. I think we've got a good little balance down there, and you've seen when our smalls got up and ran back, we showed a fair bit. So if we just get our free kicks right around the stoppage, then we should improve.
We kept pumping up the stadium, the surface. Pretty nice to play on.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always good to get out in the community and play games like this, and it's not too far from home for us. So hopefully we can get a few members from here and get them driving up the freeway.
Well done, Tom.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Yes, how far is it from Brisbane Lynchy by car? About 4.5 hours?
4 hours 35 minutes. Might be a bit slower on the way home.
You measure what they came up against tonight with Sydney, but the fact is they seem to be heading in the right direction towards round 1.
Yeah, I reckon that, well, it turned about halfway through the year. We all saw the excitement when the young Mosquito fleet started putting it together. And they just look like collectively they're on the same wavelength, and it, to me, would be a pretty exciting year to be part and parcel of the Brisbane Lions unit.
Exactly, and we talked about that work rate getting back defensively, but also having the confidence to leave your man or knowing when to leave your man makes an enormous difference. So I think very encouraging signs for the Brisbane Lions tonight. Only early, but they've got to win and they ticked every box.
Lions by 36 points. We'll take a break here from Coffs Harbour International Stadium.